We didn't give this enough attention yesterday. Front page story in USA Today. They did a great job with this. For the first, this is actually historic. Joe complains about everything being historic. This is actually historic. All-time high for people taking a percentage of money from the government versus private world. And it's been going one direction for years and years and years and years.
What are the effects of this sort of thing?
It's incredible. Some of the details should scare the crap out of you.
Perhaps we'll call Greece and see what we have to look forward to.
It's really amazing. That's coming up. So I watch the Glenn Beck program every day on Fox. And he scares the bejesus out of us every single day. If you watch that program, you can become so paranoid you don't want to leave your home. He's really good at that. Yet, most of the information he gives is, it just is. It's just he packages it together in such a way it scares the crap out of you. But
right.
He was talking about this story in USA Today yesterday that we briefly mentioned but should give more attention to. It's really incredible. It is an historic shift in this country. As a record low, 41% of the nation's personal income came from private wages, while the amount of money people get from the government has gone up. It's the lowest it's ever been for people getting private money, the highest it's ever been for people getting money from the government.
Nice.
And the thing that's interesting about this, well, there's two different things that are interesting about this. There are three different things that are interesting about
There are a number of interesting facets.
This Michigan economist said, the trend is not sustainable. The federal government depends on private wages to generate income taxes to pay for its ever more expensive programs.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes.
Now, you've got another economist from, and it says here in the USA Today, the Liberal Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, that says it just shows that the stimulus efforts have been effective. It's a system working as it should be. As the economy recovers, private wages will rebound. Well, the part of it that I want to point out is you look at the graph over the last 10 years, and it's going one direction.
Yes.
One direction for both of those numbers. Straight down for private wages, straight up for government benefits. It wiggles a little bit, but the long term over 10 years is it's going one direction. It's just like when we talked about the number of people that don't pay income taxes. Right. It's been going one direction for years and years and years.
So private sector jobs may rebound. At what point will the government debound? That's what I want to know from you, my lefty friend. At what point will the government not grow more? It never will. That's unbelievable. It's so clear. It's so infinitely clear. But the people who benefit from it are so much better organized than the rest of us.
Economist David Henderson of the conservative Hoover Institution says a shift from private wages to government benefits saps the economy of dynamism. Dynamism.
Okay.
I got a letter wrong there. People are paid.
It saps us of dynamism. How many times have I said that?
And this is what we were talking about yesterday.
Sometimes a boss will come in here with his ticky-tack crap. Come on now, you're what? Sapping me of dynamism.
I can't even hardly say it. This is what we were talking about yesterday with the extending the unemployment benefits, among other things. But people are being paid for being rather than producing.
Oh, how elegantly simple is that?
The number of people and the amount of time people are being paid for being, it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And the people that are being paid for producing is going down, 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 down. I mean, there's no denying it. And through over 10 years, that's you got several different administrations and fully Republican controlled, fully Democratic controlled. Those numbers are going the same direction,
giving the people what they want.
That's amazing. The fact that these are some long-term large numbers that are being ignored.
Right.
It drives me nuts, the conversations about what the stock market did today. Went down 80 points and people arguing over why it did.
Yeah.
You got these long-term, over decades numbers that are clearly, without a doubt, a trend, a direction that things are changing. That nobody talks about. How is nobody talking about this?
Right. You know, it reminds me of the great scene from, what was that Will Smith movie 15 years ago where the space alien, 4th of July, right? Independence Day. That was it. I always loved that movie because it had the best terrifyingly large spacecraft that I remember from the movies. Great movie. But people were bickering about, day-to-day crap.
Did you say George Will was the star of that movie? I think you did.
Did I?
It was Will Smith. George Will was not the star of that movie.
Dr. Freud. Somebody help me. Help me. I'm getting Will Smith confused with George Will.
Conservative columnist George Will was not the star of Independence Day.
Versus safe for parents and kids rapper Will Smith. Acceptable to white people early rapper Will Smith.
Next time we interview George Will, you got to ask him how often in airports people mistake him for Will Smith.
Are you the Fresh Prince? Actually, Will Smith and George Will probably have a great deal in common.
Probably.
Anyway, I have no idea what. People are bickering as the monster, terrifying spaceship hovers over our land. It's as you point out. You know, there's this great quote from James Madison, who is widely known as the father of the Constitution. He was the head of the committee that wrote it.
Is this Founding Fathers Friday?
And he...
another Glenn Beck staple.
It's another We Worship Them Wednesday. James Madison, father of the Constitution, wrote most of it, a lot of it, fourth U.S. president. In 1792, Congress was trying to get $15,000 to assist some French refugees. They helped us in the war. They're French people. They didn't have any money. And Madison came out strongly against it. He said, quote, this is the guy who wrote the thing now. I cannot undertake to lay my finger on that article of the Constitution which granted a right to Congress of expending on the objects of benevolence the money of their constituents. What he was saying is, nowhere in this Constitution does it grant the right of Congress to spend their constituents' money on people they think need it more. He was angry at that misuse. Now it's 2/3 to 3/4 of the federal budget is the constituents' money being spent on the objects of benevolence. And now we've taken that incredible change and taken it even further now. And by the way, one more layer of this. There's an article in the Sacramento Bee today. Sac County is catching up to San Francisco and Vallejo and San Jose and all the other municipalities and being dead broke. And they're realizing it. Well, Sacramento had budget problems, the county. So what do? They lay off a ton of people. The ranks of the highest paid employees in Sac County rose in 2009, even as the county laid off hundreds of low and middle income workers, cutting programs and services in the process. To spell it out for you, the people who actually work for Sac County were getting laid off. The administrators, those people actually grew. The bureaucracy grew while the business end of the thing shrank. And then you fit that in a larger context of the government growing while the private sector is shrinking, Greece. And, I mean, it does not take George Will or Will Smith, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, to tell you where you're headed.
Record low personal income coming from private wages. Record high income coming from the government. And it's been going the same direction for, well, this graph is from 2000, so it's 10 years. So through all Republican control and all Democrat control, doesn't matter. It just keeps going the same way.
Right.
That should scare the freaking hell out of you because obviously it's not economically sustainable. You don't have to know hardly anything about economics to know that you can't keep doing that. You can't keep heading that direction. Wow. You talk about ignoring the impending doom.
The country is going straight into the dumper.
Doom! How does the president feel about this and other crises?
Nobody is more upset than me.
You can hear the passion.
Boy, it's almost, I get chills hearing his anger.